This is about like what does the meta modern leader look like? Like what is the future pulling for in terms of our institutions and our leadership style? Like what is and that's the white paper that we started with the coaching program with, right? Like what are the 7 levels through which you have to go and what's starting to show up in the world, even if you can't see it right now. Because, in our first conversation, you're like, this is where we're at here, and here's the model that you've shown me, but where are we at the model? And actually, we're moving forward faster than we think we are. So there's actually quite a lot of hope in our institutional environment. And then who do you need to be to meet it? So what's your authentic leadership style? Like what's authentically, and even that's a bit weird, like what's authentically you? How can you be more you? And, and then actually, because that's the leadership in the infinite game, right? How do you become a leader there? And then, yes, there's work to do on the finite games and how to learn that stuff, but there's a lot of effort put there. What about the big one? What about the game that really, really matters? And we don't have a lot of time left to mess around with just the finite. The infinite is becoming increasingly finite.
Yep.
It's happening, right? So we need to marry them up very quickly. And then, so that's what you need to be to meet that. And that's the work that we've been doing. We're facing a lot more problems than just tight labor markets. We've got like this vast VUCA coming our way, climate change and economic collapse and social disorder and, plastic in every goddamn piece of fish that you eat. So, it really, it's huge. And then the young leaders like yourself, like when you first joined my coaching program, right? You were upset. You're not being supported. In many cases, you're just not. You're not. Yeah. You can say the older generation went through what they went through, and that's the way that it is. And I'm not having to go at the older generation, like by any stretch. I'm not. But the reality remains the same. That people in their 30s, that older generation above you, there are very few examples of really powerful and effective, full, complete human beings that can support you to have your career be an expression of who you are as a human being and as a soul in the world. They can teach you a lot of stuff, and there are beautiful exceptions, right? I had a boss who was 60 from Ireland, grew up in a small hut in Ireland as a kid with no shoes and no glass in the windows and dirt floors, and and was able to, he got cancer and nearly died, and was able to say to me, I'd quite happily die because I don't really want to go through chemo and stuff again, it hurts too much, but my wife would be so upset I'm going to force myself to live. Like that kind of human being, right? But there aren't many of them at the moment.
I guess, what doing the work with you made me realise, and I realise this, I would say, 22 years too late, is that you have those people who mentor you and work with you and work and that type of thing, and you do get some pretty inspirational leaders, but again, they're teaching you what to do, and they're teaching you how to play the game that they're in at the moment, not necessarily the infinite game. And at some point you realize that it's actually, to become your true authentic leader, it's not about what you do, it's about who you are and being a leader. And that was the big revelation for me from doing the work with you, is that I came to you thinking, Sandy can tell me all the things I need to do to succeed in this organization. And then realized it was just, all the work was about who I am and all the, as you describe it, all the little muscles and all the little moments in between what I think are the things that I need to do. Like, I need to get a team and get them together and go on a retreat and get them to think about vulnerability. Like, I realized it wasn't at all about doing, it was who I am as a person. And that was the big thing, I guess, that was really confronting, because if when you talk about who you are and who you need to be as a leader, that calls into your consciousness and brings into your current game, that infinite game. So who are you and what are you bringing to the table? And so I guess that's what I've been really excited working through, is how do I actually apply that to my current workplace, to my current game, and actually, have the two marry up somehow.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean leaving your job.
Well, that's what it would have meant previously for me.
Because you can transform in the job, even with some of your bosses, some of your managers, right?
Exactly, yeah. And it doesn't, and it doesn't feel like, I suppose in previous roles, in trying to do things and be a leader by doing things, it felt quite, it felt a bit dirty, to be honest. Like when I could see the things I needed to do to influence people or get ahead, it wasn't me. And it felt like I was being somebody else, even though what I was doing was achieving results. And that was kind of the thing that gave me that cognitive dissonance. Like, well, I know what I need to do to get ahead in this game, but I just don't want to do it. And it just feels wrong. It is icky. So that's kind of what I had been grappling with, in my early part of my career, working in the public service. And that's kind of why I rejected the notion that, I needed to be director and DepSec before I was 35.
And yet, Simon, you're exactly what we need as director and DepSec. Like, this is the problem. You are exactly what we need. The level of complexity and challenge and the humanness required of leaders now, right? I say leaders now. It sounds wanky even as I say it, but the desperate need that the cosmos has for people to be to kind of reflect itself back, to be self-aware of, what's going on, and then to lead other people by example, and to support them, we need it so much. And yet then young people, this is why we're setting up this program. Is what I'm trying to get to, right? Because young people, the models, I wasn't clear on this until you really said it to me the other day, but young people, a lot of the case, you've got models in front of you who you don't want to be in roles that you kind of are needed for. But then how are you going to fit the round peg to that, do you know what I mean? Square hole. Without shaving off bits of yourself. And that's what this is all about. And we would have done this work. I'm coaching you to be more and more and more you, not less you. More you as a leader. And are you like, so for the people listening, like, I want them left with, yes, I can do this program and I'll probably get ahead in my job, probably, right? I'll probably get a promotion of some kind, or a move to the left or the right, or because you probably will, but that's actually not what it's about. And you'll probably get better at what you're doing, but that's also not what it's about. And we desperately need you to be deputy secretaries and leaders of your organizations, and that's also not what it's about.